You're probably dead.
I would hope so at that point, honestly.
Luigi, you've got to save the fingers. I don't think that's actually a line from a YouTube clip. I just know that like those were used a whole bunch back then. So it probably exists somewhere.
So, yeah, I'm streaming and I'm currently recording.
Oh.
So this has been immortalized until the end of time. You're welcome.
Hi, welcome to the design. Ignore everything you heard in the background.
Welcome to design meeting. I guess it's coming for your soul. Okay. What? Actually, you know what?
There is no penis.
Okay. There is no pingus in Boston, say.
There is no Queen of England.
I should probably open up, the thing that I spent like 3 hours working on. Shush. I think this is it. Yeah.
I was quoting Megamind.
Oh, I watched a movie yesterday. It was a really good movie. Yeah.
It's so good. Honestly, hear me out. Instead of watching Apollo 13, we should watch Megamind.
No. We should watch and criticize Megamind.
Yes.
Oh.
No.
Critique of Megamind.
Critique.
Okay, no, we're not.
Okay. We'll critique Megamind later. That'll be next meeting. So how would you guys like to start today? That's the question.
We already
Let's
started.
talk about the general format of a design document.
Okay, you know what? That's a good idea. I like that. I'm gonna boot up the general design format now. Where is it? There. Okay. So-
Resisting every urge to walk these.
Right. So, how many people here have made a design document before?
I
Okay,
did it for a project and I have experience with it. So.
that's good. What about you?
Yeah, I had a class.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm
So-
probably going to take a game design course at some point, but I'm only a freshman.
Freshie.
All right. So basically, a design document is it's kind of like a benchmark, but also an instruction manual, like all in one. Because it's like, this is everything that we want in our game. This is the idea behind it. This is why we want this. And then this is how we're going to go about doing it. So it's like it tells you what to do, why you're doing it, and how to go about doing it. So it's very important that we get it like set up very well and succinctly and organized. Because if we don't, then like 2 months down the line, it's going to be that one SpongeBob meme where everything's on fire.
Are we gonna do this in a Word document? Google Doc?
Yeah, I'm making the master design document. It'll just cover the basics on everything. He'll be making the art design, and then you can make the sound design if you want to.
Yeah.
Right.
This is, like, planning is incredibly important for any project.
Yeah.
So, like, if we don't have a, like, if you don't, it's like the, I probably shouldn't say this on the recording.
No, it's fine. Like we're the only people that'll watch it, so.
If you put icing on a turd, it's still a turd.
That's fair. It's true. Just like Mitt Romney.
So if the structure is bad, then there's no amount of like putting duct tape and chewing gum on it that's gonna help.
Yeah. You see, if you don't have a good design and you still try to work out with the game and like work out its kinks, then it's gonna take longer, it's gonna cost more, and then people are gonna start calling it Overwatch 2. So it's not a good idea to do that. All right, the first thing that you want to do when you're designing a game doc, especially if it's the master design, which is what we'll work on together, is you want to figure out how could I describe this game in a sentence? Because you guys know the elevator pitch. You're in an elevator with like a business official, and you're trying to tell them, you're trying to describe them your game, and try to get them to be interested in it.
Yeah.
That's what you want your first sentence to be.
So a lot of the time, I think people use other video games to kind of describe it. So it's like this, but with these elements.
Yeah.
It's kind of considered a X statement, where you can like say this means this.
Yeah.
And you kind of like, for example,
Yeah, it's like a Boolean.
yeah, kind of that like Cuphead meets Diablo Blue Grind, for example.
Yeah.
Right? How would you?
Not well. So yeah, that would be the idea of it. Yeah. So
If we had to describe this game actually already made a slide presentation with an X tape that has something remotely similar.
Why didn't you tell us?
I think you showed it at the first game.
You did? Did
I
you?
don't think I did show it.
No.
Graphics
Okay.
It's real estate.
So the X statement that I had was Asteroids gameplay meets Mega Man platforming, Mega Man 2D platforming experience, for example.
with the
But it also has,
Yeah, with the,
it also has the XCOM larger strategy element.
Yeah. With overarching XCOM elements. That works. And yeah. So Asteroids gameplay meets Mega Man 2D platforming. Okay. I think that it would be more accurate if we like combined Asteroids and Mega Man together because they're both like two things that are branching off the core loop, which is the XCOM area. So Asteroids gameplay and Mega Man 2D platforming meet overarching XCOM elements. I think that's
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
that's a roundabout like where we are in terms of what we think of the game. And then the next one you'd want to have like a 2 paragraph at the most summary. So this is basically like take the log line that we just made and then describe it in detail. Like you just said that to us, like a random passerby in the street, and they said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Now you want to describe it.
Yeah, you elaborate.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that the XCOM would be closest to the core. Like, why do you do things in asteroids? Because you get resources you can use in the XCOM. So
Right.
we'd have, I guess it's a light strategy game.
Real quick, yeah, I feel it's more light than like totally oriented on strategy.
Yeah.
How about resource management?
Okay. Action-oriented resource management. Because that's really what the strategy is. There's not much. There is like some, I think, R&D, but a lot of it's just make sure you don't die.
It might be kind of difficult making a 2D resource management game.
Well, no, it's not. It wouldn't be in the 2D like platforming area. Like the Mega Man is just action, and so is the asteroids. But then, like once you get out of that scene and you go back to the main gameplay loop, then it's closer to resource management. So it's like imagine you had a Mega Man, but every level, like after you finish every level, you get a certain number of points, and then you can use those points at a store.
So it's not 2D.
No, like the resource management isn't really 2D or 3D. It's just a bunch of menus and stuff.
Is the game itself 2D or 3D?
The game itself would be
2D.
2D. If we're like, what are we talking about? Like how the game plays, or like the art style? Because the art style would be 2D.
The art style is going to be 2D pixel art.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
I just
Or at least it's kind of, I think, what we've decided on. And then I was wondering if, because what would you be spending the points on? Would you be spending on points, or would you be spending points on things that would then
That would feed back into the other
that would
like
go on the other type? Okay, so
Yeah.
like if you had a mech upgrade,
Yeah.
it would be like a type of gun that did something, and then it would affect the gameplay in like the Mega Man section.
that's the idea. And it's like you wanna go to these missions, you wanna do the Mega Man or the asteroids, you wanna do well, then you get resources to improve your own stats, and over this time the enemy is becoming increasingly more dangerous. So it's the entire game is based around this race between you and the AI.
yeah.
Right.
True.
Okay. Alright, so action oriented resource management, roundabout there, kinda.
Cool.
Race against Alright. So there are a lot of subsystems that go into any level of strategy game. So like how deep do you guys want to be the overarching XCOM? Because the the core like XCOM elements is kind of how complex we make everything else. Like if we make the XCOM really simple, then there's not many variables we could affect in like Mega Man and Asteroids because
Right.
yeah. So We have to like strike a balance between making it complex enough to be interesting and also possible.
Yeah.
What
I
if it-
completely agree.
I was honestly just thinking that the um, resource management part of it would only affect like the quality of the weapons that you're using. So like either equipable weapons or changes to the actual mech.
I think there'd be changes to the mech too, because like
That's what I'm saying. Like both of those things. So you would probably have both of those things, but I don't know what else we could do with the resource management aspect. Do you have any ideas?
well, I was thinking that instead of just having it like you get resources, you get a new weapon, it'd be like you get new resources, you can use those to fuel like science and maybe yeah, like science, and then you research new weapons. So
Yeah,
there's like that extra step.
it's like in I think you do that in StarCraft actually, where
Really?
you put research into weapons, or you go through different missions, and then it gives you more research into specific science depending on which mission you go and do. So like it'll give you like a resource achievement, and then that'll lead to different units that you can get.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I never played the campaign for StarCraft. I always played skirmish, but that sounds like what we would be trying to do here.
yeah, I only played campaign for StarCraft. I'm very story oriented.
Ah, that's fair. Okay.
So I kind of feel like that. I think a good way to incorporate that kind of research element or like role playing element sort of s would be to make it so you have like your main gameplay would be similar to the after the Mega Man um, gameplay where like you said you're going to a base and you can go to mission over and
Yeah.
over again. And you gather resources to upgrade your material and your armor suits, mechs, stuff like that, just kind of as the game progresses to make it incorporate that resource management.
Yeah, and I think
Factor.
Are you talking about like a crafting system?
Not a
Or
crafting system, just like because you guys said that you would like gather resources to like research possible weapons you could make, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So what you guys basically said, like based on that.
Okay.
it would almost
Minecraft.
it would almost kind of be like I don't know if this is a proper way of actually putting it or not, but it's almost like some kind of skill tree, and there are certain requirements for specific items. So you need specific types of research for like one type of new armor or type of new weapon.
You know, I think
Like there would be prerequisites.
So
I
like
think that might be able to work actually. I don't know if you guys have ever played Astral Chain. It's a game on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah. I got one at least.
Speak up.
There's a system where you're playing a hack and slash oriented game,
uh-huh.
but you can learn new skills based on a skill tree that's actually in the game, and they make it so in a way where it's easy enough to understand what you need, and you can actually continuously do missions to get the materials necessary to bump up your skill tree, and it just continues. It's actually really simple. It's actually a really simple feature that they implemented. It's actually like really meshes well with the game itself.
Yeah.
So I think we could actually do something kind of like that if we really wanted to.
Okay. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down here. Has anybody here played XCOM? Okay.
I have not. I've only played StarCraft.
But yeah, I think that we got the same idea because there's that tech tree. You need to research this thing, and it unlocks new options, and then you can get those options, and you just got to progress through it as the game goes on.
Yeah,
And I think that's what you're describing.
Sort of, pretty much.
what may be good in terms of like missions is like if because I know you mentioned a point system, but I was thinking there could be a point system, and that's how you sort of pay for things, and then there's also a system that governs sort of the research aspect where you do a mission and at the end it gives you some kind of resource that would be able to be researched. So like if you fight a powerful kaiju, then maybe there are parts of it that are left over that then you can use as research.
Yeah.
And then you would know how to better combat them, or you could change their biology into a new type of weapon.
Yeah, we could have something like that where you have your normal missions that just give you like a flat money like resource or something like that. And then if you do maybe a specifically challenging mission, it will give you an extra like tech option.
What if that is like the harder missions are the ones with bosses? So there's like boss missions,
Okay.
and then the boss missions will give you a specific type of resource depending on the boss that you fight. I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
I don't know if we would have them to be specific resources, because that would kind of go into like crafting.
Can you repeat what you said? I think I misheard.
Because okay, so what I mean by resources is more just like uh, it might give you an item, and then you would put the item into a section in the XCOM area, and then that would lead to research or something, or it would just be like a research achievement at the end that
That's
sort
yeah.
of describes it.
Yeah, it's like beat this guy, and then we'll have some story explanation. Oh, you got his tail, and you put it in a
Right,
suit,
that's what
and then you
yeah,
can research
that's
something.
what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah,
So that's what I mean by resources, and
yeah,
like you would have like a boss type mission, and maybe at the end of the mission you fight like a huge alien kaiju, and then depending on which one you're fighting, it'll give you a different type of achievement, or depending on the type of mission. Well, I was thinking because a lot of the time in StarCraft there are different enemy units, and depending on the biology of the what is it called the Zerg.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so
it's
the
Zerg.
Zerg have different types of units, and there's this one where they infect people and they turn them into zombies or something like that. So depending on like if you fight them, then you get some kind of biological research achievement, which I think I remember from the campaign. That's kind of what I'm talking about. So depending on like the biology of the kaiju that you fight, you would get a different
Yeah,
achievement.
we could definitely work that in.
Would that be possible? Were you thinking with the mission selection? Were you thinking you have missions that are specifically for? Ooh, I think you mentioned something about the mission system. If you did, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you asking
I was saying
specifically?
maybe there's a type of mission where it's like a mission where there's a boss at the end, as opposed to like a mission that maybe does like a level that doesn't have a boss.
Yeah.
So
Like-
there might be a distinction between those two, and depending on which one you do, it might give you more or less resources, or it might give you different types.
So
Yeah.
you're saying kind of like two like different mission types that you can kind of go through. You can kind of go through like a walkthrough, maybe no boss battle you have to really worry about, at least big boss battle, and you can have like other missions that actually do have that boss that you can defeat to get different. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was
I was thinking like you have procedural missions that are based on like a bunch of different variables, like how long you've been playing, what you've got, and stuff like that. And then they just generate that. And then there's a unique boss missions every game, and they only happen once per game. And it's like, a story event tied in with unlocking a new research.
That sounds, yeah.
Okay.
And then the research would give you like a new powerful weapon or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it would give you access to that. And you might need specific prerequisites. Like you might just need one prerequisite for a certain type of weapon, but you might need multiple depending on how good the weapon is, just to balance things. I don't know if that's.
I was thinking more like they're all roughly the same power, but they specialize in different things.
Okay.
Like if you fight, like let's have a red kaiju and then a green kaiju or a blue kaiju, and then a red kaiju, if you kill it, it gives you something that goes straight through shields, and then if you
Okay.
kill the green kaiju, it gives you better shields. Like they're both roughly the same.
So like something that does piercing damage, or something that would fortify your
Yeah.
shields.
Yeah, we'll talk about the combat system later, but yeah.
Right, yeah. I really like this because it feels like I've been working on my narrative and artwork elements, or I've been like not for this game, but just I've been working on like an overarching world that I feel like I can pull elements from for this. And Desmond also came in with sort of a project idea, so I like that those two things are being combined.
Yeah. I just want to do some games. Uh, yeah, I think that's good. So, action-oriented research management with a competitive race against an increasingly dangerous AI. That's like the core, progression. Earn resources to facilitate unlocking new weapons and abilities by performing well in combat. Progressing through a tech tree as you unlock more advanced materials. Not materials as in crafting materials, just as in story moments.
Right.
And then fight dangerous and unique bosses to unlock special technologies. I think, yeah, that's a good enough core loop we can
It
use.
seems pretty good.
Yeah. All right. And then next up, just gonna there we go. Okay. So this is a similar vein, but it's more like take the biggest ideas that you want to focus on. Like, let's say you have two different options in this game when you're programming or making an art piece, and then you're like, well, would this fit in with our core ideas? And if it does, then we'll do it, and if not, then we won't.
Okay.
So this is kind of like, do you want it to be focused on immersion, fast-paced combat, realism, or stuff like that?
Um,
So, let's see. I think that we're not going to be doing this based on like realism, but
no,
we could do it like gritty.
gritty.
Yeah.
I like gritty. I actually think that's kind of what I wrote in the narrative. So I went to the main brainstorm document that you've made.
Yeah.
And for narratives, oh, so for general artistic direction, I put gritty and militaristic feel.
Okay, yeah. So gritty and militaristic.
I feel like it's more fun action feel.
Do you mean as in?
Like not super like dark or anything.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think this will be like too dark. It's mostly just closer to the story. Like the actual gameplay will be faster paced and kind of arcadey, but the story isn't like, it isn't upbeat.
Match the gameplay though in tone.
Yeah.
I do think that's a major factor to consider. If it's dark and gloomy, then the gameplay has to match that. If it's like dark and gloomy and it's a very fast-paced kind of like arcadey-ish.
Well, I wouldn't say art.
well,
Not arcadey, like, bright colors everywhere and shit like that, but more like, there are mech games where you're a giant building sized and moving very slowly, and then there's faster paced mech games that,
so if you look at, I'm gonna counter that because I really like and like gritty story elements, and that's kind of what I wanted for this, and
Yeah.
that actually is a lot of my narrative design
Yeah.
for the experience, and that's kind of what I'm better at doing. So if you look at things like Contra and Contra likes, a
yeah,
lot of the time those are really chaotic and they have really strange bosses, but it's very arcadey and fast. And there's lots of like kind of at least implied violence with those types of games, and it also looks almost post-apocalyptic. So like, I don't think that.
so you would say that Contra would be gritty and militaristic, but also fast paced.
Yes.
Yeah,
If that's more what you're thinking, then I kind of agree with that.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just can't
Like
conceptualize it.
I want the bosses to look really strange,
Yeah.
and I want there to be an overarching like post-apocalyptic narrative element, but the gameplay itself doesn't need to have like a bunch of dialogue or anything.
There's a
Yeah.
few things that are concerning me about that though. The direction of the actual game page itself was supposed to be a classic kind of like these aliens are invading Earth kind of thing. We have to stop them. Which we can have the aliens look unnatural. That's not out of the problem. That's not out of the question. But it was supposed to kind of have that classic '80s alien like teenage like you're a teenager destroying aliens like at an enemy base kind of feel where it's like simple to the eye and not too like gruesome and graphic. But just something that you can kind of enjoy playing. And I feel like if we got to the point where it would be think our direction for this game doesn't blend well together. So I think we need to find a better common middle ground.
I
think-
disagree.
Well, yeah. What if we just kind of mix them both together? Because it's like, okay, so let's say you're a teenager's imagination in the 80s, and then the game is like you're grown up now. So it's still the same core idea of action paced and kind of juvenile, but it's also like actually more gritty and realistic because you have that tempered by age factor.
Like I'm okay with it being sort of gritty. Like I'm not asking for like.
I think we could do serious, but not, R-rated.
There is supposed to be a serious element, and like I do think we can do that. It just by the sound of it initially, it kind of sounded like
Kind of like Star Wars.
yeah, that's a really good comparison. Actually.
Yeah, like not like Episode 9, more like Andor.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
actually really good.
necessarily looking for. I don't know what you expect from what I said, but a lot of the time with the inspirations that I usually take are things like Gundam, and Gundam is like the fundamental aspect of Gundam is there's a teenager piloting a robot fighting enemies.
Yeah, we can.
But at the same time, Gundam has like undertones where it's a war and it's serious, and so there's narrative elements where people are dying and like you can still have an 80s feel as well. Gundam is fundamentally 80s in the way that it's usually designed. So a lot of the inspiration what we're both pulling from is going to be similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which I think is going to blend pretty well. So I'm not looking for. I don't know what you. Do you have an example of what you thought I meant?
I guess when I heard what you were saying, my initial thought was like it was going to be very, like, what's the word I'm thinking of?
like realistic.
Like bleak.
Kind of realistic and like bleak and just kind of different. Like just the like the words alone was like I guess kind of like. I feel like I should have built on the context better, but basically it sounded like it was going to be more like a realistic, 8-bit or not 8-bit pixelated kind of oriented game. Kind of like Carry On if you know that game, but not like exactly. I'm talking more so like the art style.
I was looking at something more like. So a good example of something I might pull inspiration from, for at least the designs of the kaiju, because I want them to look really weird, and I kind of want them to look a little scary, but I don't. So I really like the manga series Knights of Sidonia. There's also another.
Yeah, it's really good.
Crap. There was another piece of. Have you seen Neon Genesis Evangelion?
Yeah, that's such a good show.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of the stuff I'm looking.
Oh, okay. That puts it in a better perspective.
Yeah.
I don't want the art to look really gritty in terms of like.
Okay.
I'll
I
just
don't want
put
it to
like
look-
Star Wars-esque.
I don't need it to look like we don't need like Mortal Kombat realism.
Yeah.
It's not
You
what
better
I'm
start
looking for.
animating.
Me shooting an alien in the skull, X-ray.
Oh, God.
That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like the overall storyline is kind of serious, and there's like warlike elements where people are actually dying, and there's like kind of the psychological aspect to that.
Yeah.
But then the gameplay is very actiony.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
No,
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that puts it in better.
Because I really love Evangelion. I really love anime like Evangelion and like Gundam.
You know what you said. Yeah, that puts it in a better perspective. I just kind of I guess didn't connect the dots sooner, but that puts it in a better perspective. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that.
I just really like Star Wars. Okay. Alright, so that'd be like the story aspect. And then for gameplay, specifically combat, I think there should be an emphasis on fast-paced movement and action with high player control.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
No, I really agree.
Do you want? Because if you look at this is one of the games that I mentioned in my sort of references that I posted. It's called Assault Suit Falcon, and if you look at that, it's like a Metroidvania game, and there's an element where I think in every level the mech actually has it's a jetpack, but it only allows you to jump for a certain period of time. So like instead of having a double jump or something like that, we could just have that as an aspect.
That could, what did you say the reference was again?
It's the Salt Suit Vulcan.
The Soul Suit Vulcan.
Did I? Oh, that's the soundtrack.
Oh.
Did I post?
I probably passed over it. It
I
was
think
like
you did. Links.
is-
Those are just Wikipedia link. Here, I didn't put gameplay links in. Just yeah.
Oh, sick, nice.
Yes, this is exactly what I mean. So, I've played this game before, so I'm familiar with it.
That's really cool.
Okay, yeah, you got like, is that bidirectional?
Like shooting? Yeah.
That's actually like perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is exactly what I want the game to sort of be like.
Yeah, that's what I was looking forward to as well. When I gave the pitch, I was like, yeah, kind of like this. That's good. That looks good.
Yeah, this is exactly what I would want.
No, this is good. This is what I was looking
And I
for.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I would prefer like higher vertical mobility, but that's my only complaint with it.
I do think we should like kind of expand the resolution a little bit more too. Because
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
the square shape is kind of like, oh my goodness.
yeah, that's really low quality.
Hello?
They're not.
Where is the light?
Just putting on some blue lighting cameras was for
There's a way to manually do this.
Yeah, no, that's actually perfect. Yeah, that's a really good reference. We should pin that. I mean, we should pin that.
That's what I have. You guys didn't look at anything that I said?
yeah.
It's
I put it there for a reason.
No, I swear, like, I would think, man, I should really check those out.
College is very annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this. It makes me sweat less. He's cool.
Fine.
Well,
We're just gonna be vampires.
Yeah. We're gonna be little gremlin children.
But this is also something that I like. They have a little map of
The level?
like the mission briefing, and it'll give you a mission briefing, a map of the level, but then also the mission briefing.
Yeah.
This is also nice. There was something that I mentioned before. The orbital hideout mission. If you watch this, it sends you right into Just watch this. This is really cool.
Got it.
So instead of just exploring an environment, it's a side scroller, but it's rapid. So it rapidly scrolls and you can't go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have to change that a little bit to like more like asteroids-esque feel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We could include, like if we were, and this is actually just a section of one of the missions.
So this is just the top half? Like we changed this to a top
Yeah.
half, and then that's basically it. We'll do new filming in some. Cool.
I just thought that that was neat that they have, and I don't know if they have more levels that are like this. This is just the second one. This game is kind of difficult, and
Yeah, it looks very difficult.
I had a hard time getting through the second level. I ended up making it to the boss fight, but then I died because I didn't have much health left. So like you lose the boosters here, and then it becomes like the normal
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
So this was actually I was thinking because we do have the asteroids levels. What if we had some of them that had something like that, but it's the Mega Man levels like this?
Well, what I was thinking was like the asteroids part was kind of like, it's like, you know how in Mega Man where you have like the level select where you like choose which boss you're gonna fight? And
Yeah,
you have
that
the level.
was supposed to be incorporated.
Yeah, I was thinking like instead of that, if you have the asteroid section and then you just go to like fly to the whichever planet you want for the level.
Yeah, that's how it was gonna work. Is basically the asteroids would have been more of like an advanced kind of like asteroid remake 2024. You can go to different asteroids or planets themselves, and you can land on them to get resources and stuff like that. But there would also be like, yeah.
If you're using it to travel, it might make sense for it to be a large dropship or starship as the actual sprite for the player.
That's kind of gonna make it. You know, that was kind of the point that's kind of like the direction I was thinking. It's like if you're going from planet to planet, then you have like a mothership almost that holds the other stuff because you can still battle aliens, like alien ships that are actually, coming your way. But like, let's say you have some Death Star.
I do have a question
for that.
Yeah.
So have you? I like this idea. What I'm thinking is to have the XCOM
I like
section
this idea.
because you need to do like tech research and stuff, so that has to be a menu.
Mhm.
And then it's like you find your mission, you select it, and then you have to move to the target in the asteroid section, and then you drop down, and there's going to be aliens there, and you might be able to find some extra resources, and then you'll like drop down the mech, and then you'll start the Mega Man section.
I'm sorry, you repeat that a little bit.
Okay,
So,
this is a whiteboard now.
Okay.
So like you have the XCOM section, and then you're doing your there's no camera, and then you're doing the menu thing, and then like you do your research stuff here, and then you get like a mission prompt, and you accept it, and so then you have your like target mission location for the ground mission, but you have to get there using the asteroid section.
Yeah.
So
That actually sounds like a good,
Yeah.
an interesting way of doing things.
Yeah, that's
So that way it keeps both things in perspective, because you need to keep your ship upgraded or you'll get shot in space, and you need to keep your player upgraded or you'll get shot in the ground.
Yeah.
I
I
love
love
that.
that. I want
That's
that.
actually what I was thinking too. I like that. And I can work on the UI elements too. I like kind of grow close to them, so like I can really knock out a pretty good UI. I think I can do that. If I just do my research on that, I should be able to knock out like a good research where you should go next kind of thing.
Okay.
Question about, when do they all the
I'm pretty sure we are recording.
Jesse, we have to cook. Jesse, can you that?
So,
Oh, sorry.
I have a question, and this is about art direction.
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question.
Okay.
Why are you asking me? Your art direction.
Well, I just want to know if it goes with the overall feel of the game.
Okay, yeah.
I really like biomechanical aliens, so stuff like the Zerg and there's in Knights of Sidonia there's the Gauna, which are also biomechanical, and I also like the Xenomorphs from Alien. I would like the aliens to be biomechanical. So the ships would probably also be biomechanical. So the ships in and of themselves would appear like living organisms.
The alien ships? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Like, I think that whatever we do with the aliens, as long as it's consistent, it can fit. Because it's like you can have really realistic with robots or normal aliens or biomechanical.
I don't know
So-
entirely about the man-made objects. Like, I understand, like, even Galeon was kind of like a good reference for this, but if we're gonna go that route, I don't know how. That feels kind of weird. I'm a little skeptical on that. I think it could work, but
What are you
like, are you saying that like the humans themselves could like make machines out of like living organisms?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The aliens have it. Only the aliens.
I misheard. I'm sorry. I completely
No,
misheard.
I don't want to design biomechanical stuff for the humans.
Okay.
It's not going to be like Scorn.
That's a yeah.
Uh,
It might be Scorn for the aliens, but not for the humans.
My bad. I misheard you completely.
I have an odd question.
Sure.
What time frame is this taking place in?
The future.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Like, what time frame would you say
so
it
that's
is?
like really cliche.
It's the 25th century.
Okay,
Okay,
but
that
that's
works.
It was
still
supposed to be kind of cliche, like.
okay.
Yeah, I know,
Future.
it's supposed to be man versus like.
Sorry, it was he's out of the future. Never goes for you. Okay, but yeah, it's supposed to be like man versus alien, like future kind of.
Yeah, it's like it almost is gonna have a bit of a cliche sort of Starship Troopers thing to it, where it's like, oh, we're going off to fight the alien bugs.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know,
Space
because
bugs.
like
Are you
an
doing your part?
interesting premise would be that it's happening like after the 90s or so, whenever like rapid thoughts of invasion were a thing.
Basic.
So-
Oh, sorry, you go.
No, so sorry, I just shut you down
You're fine. I
completely.
said-
No, that's good.
Sorry. But like invasions and such. So like you like war-based stuff, and with that you could kind of tie in historical quote unquote events and say, hey, Area 51, kind of banging. Here you go.
9/11.
Well,
9/11.
the reason why I said this will be like more towards like the future is because in the 80s they kind of like were skeptical. Like you see the Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
You remember how like we
I
had
think it should
flying
be the
skateboards and stuff like
1890s.
that in like 2015, and we don't have that right now.
Just because
But
I
it was
think
supposed to be
it's
kind of like that, or like took the
They take that like
the, like,
idea of just shooting a bullet to the
inspiration
moon.
the
Yeah.
80s
Let's
thought
do
was the
that.
future,
Yeah,
but
like
it's actually like in the future.
So how does
Yeah.
like
So kind of like what we
the
do.
overarching XCOM
including, I don't think we could actually set it in
So it's like a
like an
it's like
alternative history
resource
sense.
management.
I don't
So like
think
you
we're
do a
going
mission, you
alternative
get
history
resources, you use it to
overall.
research new tech,
But I
so you
think
can
that
put
there
stuff
could
on
be
your
elements
mechs, and then you can go back to the
in the
missions.
overarching
It's very
story
simple.
that tie
Yeah.
into what you're talking about,
Yeah.
potentially. So like, if we have, because I'm thinking we won't have a lot of dialogue or anything, or like big cutscenes with like a bunch of text or anything.
Oh,
But if
no,
we
I
do
wasn't
Like
thinking that. I was
individuals,
thinking
and then you
more so
organize them and
implied.
you customize
Yeah,
them.
so implied
That's
lore.
probably too much.
Well, we could kind of do that with the mechs.
Man just grabbed the balloon.
Yeah, we could kind of do that with the mechs, but
It was actually.
I think it's more like you have one mech and you have one plane, and then everything you use has that same setup.
What does the balloon do to you? I just want to
So
know.
basically, like
What?
the way I'm understanding
Let me get
it,
you a balloon so you
is
don't.
you go through
Alex is like, this is my
uh,
balloon, not
Mega
yours.
Man worlds or whatever.
Yeah, you have a
And
white
then
one.
at
Why
the
do I
end,
have a
there's
white
like
one?
some
I don't know.
space
When do we
balloons.
start talking about white bats? I don't really.
No, it's more like
So when we're gonna start talking
like let's say XCOM
I haven't
area is
really
in
thought about
space,
characters
and
yet.
then you get a mission prompt. So you accept the
Why?
mission prompt.
God,
I don't know.
Stop.
You accept the mission prompt and
No.
you gotta
Sound really good.
go to like the ground location,
Yeah.
but in the asteroids. So it's like you're transporting yourself there, you're shooting aliens and shit, and then you get to the ground. Then you do the ground, then you gotta go back.
The top level is like
skill-based pilot type deal,
I
or
was thinking kind of like I was
Yeah.
thinking
and
more
then
kind of
mid
like
level is like
kind of like a team
asteroids
captain,
getting
but not
into
like
the
an Navy
mission.
captain kind of.
And then
Right, yeah.
then
No,
it's
that's
like
good.
the platform.
That reminds me a little bit of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you gotta go other way around.
Thank you for the balloon, please.
I think it's a really interesting idea.
Huh?
I think it's a really interesting idea.
I don't know. I'll let you. I'll let
Do you
you.
want another balloon?
I'll let you talk.
Well, okay, first of all, where the fuck did we get balloons? I turned my head for 1 second.
They've been in here, but they're just all dead and they're over there.
Jesus, cue a Queen song.
I was just.
Alright,
I wasn't
well,
trying
I
to
just
talk.
wanted to
The only reason I have this is because it acts as a stress ball.
show up.
True.
I
have anxiety.
What the
Anxiety.
game actually was.
Well, this is streaming right now on Discord, and it's gonna be recorded. So
Oh, I was going to.
Okay, let's.
this is all going in the
What are we
archives,
talking
including the
about? Let's
balloons.
get focused again. What are we talking
Well, I
about?
just wanted to like
We kind of got off topic because we saw Tyler's incredible
Okay.
video
I was already here for
that
something
he made all by himself.
I respect that.
Yeah. This is his vision for the game.
Yeah, this is Tyler's like, I'm sorry.
He's already made the whole game.
He just made the whole
He just made the whole game already.
Okay, so.
All right.
You like plug your brain in.
Yeah. So we got our kind of like story pillar, and then we have like how the missions are supposed to be connected. I think it would be best to do one more. Like, what's our main focus?
Are we doing? Can we do character?
Character?
I think
Like character, as in like individual character designs. Like.
We're talking about. He was talking about how he had an idea for protagonist.
Okay.
I have ideas for
I
like.
can draw it on there.
This is more just like general. Like we're covering the tip of every iceberg, and if you guys want to be like more in depth, we could have we could do that later.
Separate. We can do. Okay. So let's figure something. What else?
We all type it like later.
Artwork.
Artwork, that could also work. Artwork, that's
We
one.
need to figure out artwork. I do need to do the design document.
Yeah.
What if?
Like I think that these are all excellent conversations for whenever you're working on the art design,
Right.
because character design kind of goes into that.
What all did we talk about? We talked about the combat. We talked about the
I'm sorry. I'm Brazzle Basil.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We talked about the combat. I'll be honest with you. We talked about the gameplay.
Yep.
We talked about the story. We talked about something else. What did we talk about?
I think we talked about the art style a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about the other stuff a little bit.
So story, gameplay. All right. What about difficulty?
Ooh.
Should we have settings?
That's a good question because with settings you have to make sure everything's balanced. So you're basically making 3 different
You have
games.
to wait. I
What?
don't think. Oh.
Get out,
Wait,
Castle.
when we select hard difficulty, enemies when they throw out an attack get iframes and their attacks become 10 times stronger.
Huh?
That's not hard. That's you're gonna uninstall this game. That is the out of hard difficulty.
That's not hard, that's just bullshit.
Literally.
Okay,
If we ever make that, the difficulty names look to be just bullshit.
Always envisioned this game as being as difficult as older games.
Yeah.
So something like this.
Yeah.
The difficulty of this.
Yeah.
Looks about right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as like, ooh, difficulty is one aspect. What about like kind of progression? Should we talk about that?
Oh yes, yes, that's good. Yes, good idea.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
let's cover like what we want our difficulty to look like, and then we'll cover how that progresses.
Okay.
So, do you guys want to go for an arcade-esque like difficulty where you're gonna get your ass
Yeah, I
kicked?
think it'd be kind of cool to like gradually make it. More
Is that a
difficult
yes?
as time goes on. Now,
It's a V.
whether we want to make
Okay.
that kind of more like a victory difficulty,
Victor.
or should it be kind of more based on like the skills you've obtained? Actually, no. That's gonna be kind of hard to balance. I think if we like make it so like, oh, you got this skill, then enemy X gets 10 times more health.
I don't think that's. I think what's good is the mission. The mission progresses as you go on, so it gets more difficult as you go on, and then you also get better resources as it goes on.
Yeah.
So not necessarily like, oh, this mission over here, and you probably wouldn't have that available later on in the game.
Right.
You would just have more difficult missions. So like you do the missions already, and then you wouldn't. I don't know. Would you be able to go back and do those? I feel like with the way that we have it structured. probably not.
It's not a linear, so you can't go back to anything. It just they happen
That's
procedural.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So like later on, the stuff gets just more difficult in general. It's not like, oh, I have this specific weapon now. The enemies like turn into something. It's more like the enemy also gets stronger, but you get stronger.
Is that a bowling pin?
I don't know.
Hey, yo, we bowl.
Oh,
They're water bottles.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I think I'm just feeling.
Okay, so I think that the way we could do difficulty is kind of like an XCOM because the way missions are generated are very similar in there, where it's just you start off with like basic units that are pretty simple to defeat, and then you start getting more specialized and tougher units with their own abilities. Like in XCOM, you have what are the little aliens called? That you start. Yeah, you got these sectoids. They're like, the little Martian aliens. You could shoot them and they're dead in like 3 shots. And then later on, you would get things called chrysalids, which are basically like zombie ants. Like they'll kill someone and then they'll become a zombie, and then they'll turn into a chrysalid.
Right.
And yeah,
what I was actually
yeah,
thinking.
and the
So-
game just gets more specialized with different enemy types.
I do kind of like the. Yeah. But I do want to come back to like zombie stuff and people becoming aliens after they die type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be interesting and gritty.
Yeah, like you could do that. You could do an enemy that has a lot of armor but very little health, so you would need a specialized weapon to defeat them. Or you could do like you could do whatever you want basically.
We could have like missions where like maybe there's some kind of cure for the actual like zombie-esque disease, and like if you shoot an actual person, you actually lose the mission. Like,
Well,
or
one thing that
Yeah, like you could get a tech from that, kind of like we were talking about with the bosses.
one thing that I thought was really interesting in this is not as general, it's more specific, but so Knights of Sidonia, what would happen is they have these big kaiju and then they would kill a person, but then they would actually read their DNA, and then the aliens would like sort of turn into a human, but not exactly. It's like they're really big. No, so it's actually more like what you drew, the concept art, where it's like just a bunch of meshed together human parts that looks terrifying.
Ooh. No, that's not it.
Where is he? Don't. It's on the Discord.
Hello, fellow peoples.
Well,
We're
maybe
people?
not necessarily. Like we can develop this later on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there somewhere. It's on the Discord as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's good. We got like our general idea, and then we got the specific pillars. We got the story, how the missions fit together, how difficult it is. So I think we will have just one difficulty setting, unless you guys want like a really hard mode or a really easy mode.
If we wanted to get kind of like into it, when we start to have one, maybe we could be like, no. Maybe we could have like,
I think we
after
need
you beat the game, you could be like, try this game again. But on this mode, we could do that if we really wanted to. But that's
It's like a new game plus.
Yeah, kind of like a new game plus kind of thing. Like,
You know, with the new game plus, we could do it kind of the Kojima style, where it's like, hey, you know all those bosses you fought and hated? Well, there's 30 of them now. Have fun.
Like almost more of a boss rush type thing.
Yeah. Or we could just make it so that the more unique types come out faster, which would
Yeah.
also work.
I think maybe we should. I think I like that. I think what would be better instead of having like difficulty, because a lot of the time old arcade games don't have like difficulty settings.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of all hard, and then later on you might again like have a different version
Yeah.
of New Game Plus.
The reason why arcade games are hard is because then you would have to replay them and they'd seem longer. And I think that also works for ours because this isn't going to be like a 40-hour experience.
yeah.
It might be 2 at the most. So we have to like focus on making
Right.
it hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also a lot of the time the reason why arcade games were difficult is because they want more money. So they
Yeah,
you
that-
put more money into the machine.
Okay, I'm thinking more of like the early console games is what I'm thinking of. But yeah,
Yes.
okay. I'm glad we're in agreement. We just both sound like we're not in agreement and we're having an argument.
Why is my computer? I'm literally going in that room after this.
Alright,
What is wrong with me?
Corian.
I like how we're usually able to resolve any disagreements that we have.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good sign for a team. Most teams,
I think
As long as we don't implode.
It's not as good if you don't have any conflict. That's maybe not a good sign. And
Yeah.
If you have too much conflict and you can't resolve it, that's bad.
Here it is.
Jesus Christ!
Kyle.
Caracas, people, ladies and gentlemen.
Kyle.
Yeah, you heard me correctly. Did I stutter?
We just gave everybody in this building over the age of 50 a heart attack. I hope you know that.
Good. Just gonna hear what?
You know anything like this?
Oh,
No.
I'm gonna be in there doing homework.
Okay, I just gonna give you a heads up. There's a League of Legends watch party up here tonight, and so they're gonna be doing League of Legends Worlds.
Okay.
League of Legends Worlds is tonight. Just it's probably gonna be noisy and have food and bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
So-
Yeah.
I found the thing.
It may not look exactly like as much as creepy as this.
What is
but
this?
This is like the concepts that we were thinking of,
Oh,
like
okay.
monsters that
Okay.
are.
You can do whatever you guys want. Like, if you think you could work this in and keep it consistent, sure.
When are we gonna be having the meeting?
So
If you-
if you look at this is the main inspiration for the aliens.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Scandalous.
Ridiculous.
Okay, guys. Well, good.
What'd you say about
Your mouse?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, do we have anything else we need to cover?
Well, I was going to talk to you about your sound design document.
Oh, but right now?
But we can do it real quick right now.
I was thinking of
They
doing it
kind
later.
of all look weird.
Sorry, I just didn't know for sure. I thought we were just doing the
Yeah, I'll
other.
make sure.
Oh, there's a specific artist I was looking at earlier today.
So it's
But,
the art style of the guy named. So what I was thinking is we're going to take the general design document and it will shift mostly to like
Tragic.
and then you like take that and you run with it for the sound because it should be more art style. And so what you would do is you would like take kind of like what we did before.
I don't know about
yeah, you take your general like core ideas of the sound.
Because I want it to be somewhat humanoid, but I don't know if I want it to directly be humanoid.
What are you doing? Yeah. Right. We're working on one thing like this. We're looking at alien, but
I think it would be good to have our.
It's supposed to look kind of creepy.
The sound and
have you ever seen that art picture where it like
No.
Stop.
You guys are gonna give me
Those
like
like kind of
angry.
so.
I might not be angry with him.
But yeah,
That's
I'm
your
thinking
fault.
I can just like kind of record my own audio, do my
That
own
is
research
your
on like
thing.
some like space themed games, and because I'm not gonna do like
Yeah.
music or anything. Only I'll put like maybe like retro explosions, kind of like a.
Actually, I mean, we're looking at this.
It was a good
I
scene,
can
dude.
make the sounds and I go.
Are you gonna fart in the mic?
This is more what I want. I don't want to set my laptop. I don't want to set my laptop. I'm just trying to walk around it. I want to avoid. Someone stole that HDMI cable from out the TV up front. Yeah, I
Can you
mean,
just make the revision to that?
yes.
So now you can try experiment with art on the
Okay.
You guys want to start on the core loops?
What?
What we're doing now is core loops. It's more like what is the process of going through a mission or doing XCOM. We're not done yet. He's just leaving for a meeting. Or
Oh,
what are you leaving for?
I need to do a few.
Hello.
Alright,
Hey, Kyle.
Alright, see ya. Nice talking to you guys.
I was like that. The meeting seems really fun.
No, we're gonna be here for all night if you guys let me.
Doing the art, sign off.
Yeah.
Art bit.
Okay, I would recommend that you do that with like everybody that's an artist in the role.
Okay.
I think you also need Madison there and there. I think somebody else.
Are they? Where are they?
Madison is not here.
Yeah, it's not today.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying.
Okay, not.
Yeah, like you guys should organize your own meeting.
Yes, it's possible. That is very possible to do. And I think that they will. Okay. Nobody can focus anymore.
No, we're gonna do it. I promise. We just need less balloons.
I'm just trying to have. The only reason I had this in the first place, it wasn't so that I could pop balloons. It was so I could sit here because I get nervous because I have an anxiety disorder, so I have something to mess with.
There's a couple left. I don't know.
No,
I
it's
don't
okay.
know.
It's not.
Oh, you still got it? I thought he took it from you.
I thought he popped it, but I don't. I think it might just have a small hole in it.
Okay, well that's good.
Okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
My point is like I didn't want to make it a distraction. What were we talking about?
We were talking about core game loops. Like, what would be the process of doing a specific action? So, there's like different kinds of game loops. It's kind of hard to visualize. One second.
Yeah, maybe. Usually, if I have an example of something, I'm really able to understand it.
Yeah. So, I want to do this. It's like, here's the start of the game, right? You're in XCOM. Right. And then you are doing, let's say, resource management, research, and upgrading your units. Right? Because this is what you would mostly be doing in the XCOM thing. You take what you earned from the missions, you're using it to research new ideas and equipment, and then you're giving those equipments to your players, right? Your space and your craft.
Correct.
And then what you would do from here is you would go into space. Yeah, space. I know space. I go space. Okay, go space. So you would like dogfight. I'm just gonna call it dogfight. Because dogfight is cool.
Yeah.
Space is also used for transport. So you transport. Then you go for XCOM. You do all this, and then you would get a mission. Mission prompt. You accept it. You go into space to move to the mission. And then you would go to ground. And then ground, it has its own two ideas because there's two different kinds of missions. There's a procedural mission and then there's the boss missions.
Right.
And then from here, you go back to XCOM. So that's your loop. You start here, you get your mission, you go to space, you do the space things, and then you go to ground.
This is like the user journey.
Yeah.
The user map.
Yeah, sure.
That's what we've been talking about in creative process.
Okay, I've never heard that, but it sounds pretty accurate. So yeah, the boss stuff, that would feed into your research. This will also be resources, and then space, and then you do ground fight, use weapons, and then that can also feed in here. So yeah, everything affects everything, everything's interconnected, and generally this is what the player would do until the end of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we should be describing in detail right now, because we know research, I mean, we know resources, research and upgrading, but we don't know specifically what they do.
Right.
So that's what the question is right now.
Okay. So what do we want to start with?
I think it just makes sense to start at the beginning, so we do XCOM first.
All right.
But yeah.
So like that would be the beginning.
Yeah. Because like the game starts, well, unless we want to do something specific for the story, like if you want to start off on a ground mission, that can work too. But really importantly, we'll always start at XCOM. Okay. I'm just gonna grab one from the other whiteboard.
Where?
Over there. They were all
Here. Inside brain.
Can I? Oops, good.
I drew a Nautilus earlier. You know what a Nautilus is?
I guess that is kind of important now, so.
I did it in. I like drawing. I like sketching in just pen, so then I don't erase.
XCOM.
Because I tend to overthink things, so if I just cut out the overthinking, it would be
Resource. Dot.
resource.
It's a hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Yeah. You got XCOM 1, and then you got details and sub details.
So that's like the parent, and then that's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Child, grandfather, flesh move, uncle. Yeah. So, first things like resource management. I don't think we should have too many variables here, like just whenever you finish a mission, depending on how well you do, it gives you money.
Yeah, I say if we have funds and we have research points.
I'm just kind of trying to merge the two together because it's like
We could have one point system.
yeah, you're using the funds to generate research, and then you can expand the research with your funds.
yes, there we go.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, that's okay with me.
Funds
That sounds good to me.
is off.
Based. Funds are based.
So the better you do, the more money you get. That sounds good. Then it's really just research or resource. So research. All right. So cost. So I think that with this we should have two different kinds of cost. So there's the upkeep, because you're generating research each turn, you need to upkeep that. Otherwise, there's no real point to having money. And then there's like upgrades. Like you upgrade how much research you get per turn. I'm using turn in general, I don't think it's actually turn based. But you're using like money to upgrade how much research you get per turn, and then that cost by up too. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
I don't mean mostly copying myself, you guys can join in, but upkeep. I hope I spelled that right. We'll do tech because that's neutral. Per tick cost. Use it to research. Yeah. Upgrade. Flat. One time cost. Increases upkeep. So that way, if you want to keep researching so you can fight feelings, you need more funds, which means you need to be better. And then it's just this positivity.
Are we gonna have anything where your mech gets damaged and then you have to use costs to fix it?
Oh, you want like repair?
Yeah. Is that gonna be a thing, or do we just not do that?
I think we should,
I think we could experiment with it, yeah.
Okay.
but it's not like a priority thing.
Probably not.
Maybe if like you get welled up, then there's like a cost of resources at the end of the mission.
Okay.
So you, like build one.
Yeah.
Because okay,
Yeah, just something more general like that, not with like individual like. No, I don't think you should have like individual armor, like you're not buying individual hit points or something. Yeah. The thing that actually comes from is like, I play a tabletop game called BattleTech and it's incredibly detailed and you do actually buy individual hit points.
yeah.
But that's not what we're looking for here. Oh, you're familiar with it already?
I'm not too familiar with it, but I think it's an interesting like world. I've only played it a bit. Or I should even pick it up.
I actually 3D print miniatures for it and paint them.
Oh wow. Yeah, I know about Warhammer, I know about BattleTech, but I've never played it any times.
Oh yeah. The video games are really cool, like Mech Warrior and stuff.
Yeah. New tech and weapons. And then this world for the specific packs for even bosses. This one gets
Writing on whiteboards is interesting because you have to use your shoulder. It's like drawing on an easel. That's why they do it in class usually. It forces you to use your shoulder.
This is a really good rooster.
That's a better whiteboard than some of the other ones that are in this building.
X kind of square. We're talking about what we're doing. Well, we just kind of discussed that. We'll do mech management.
Mech management?
Yeah, because repairing,
Yes.
building new ones.
So like just mech.
I just said that because you're managing your mechs. Do you have a more succinct word?
No, it's okay. I was just thinking about like, yeah, don't worry about it. This is just what's going on in the hangar.
Yeah. This is actually Battle Mech 2. I get that one. What's it called? We were just talking about like 10 minutes ago that I forgot the name.
Mech Warrior?
Mech Warrior, yeah. This is actually Mech Warrior 2.
Oh.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just trying to make a joke.
Mech Warrior 2. There's also aspects of that in
Mech Warrior 2, is that actually a thing?
yeah. I think so.
Okay.
There's Mech Warrior 2 or Mech Warrior through like Mech Warrior 1 through 5.
Is that like tabletop iterations? Or is it
No, so Mech Warrior is actually really different from the tabletop. There's BattleTech, which was Harebrained Schemes, and they made like a version of the tabletop game that was a video game. But then Mech Warrior is more like a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming you're more familiar with.
I need to sit down or something because I got browser down.
There's
Put the two together.
There's Mech Warrior, and then there's also Mech Commander,
Never heard that one.
and there's a couple other BattleTech games that are different things, but it's all just BattleTech.
It's all about it. Always has it. So management, we're gonna do rebuilds, because we're not gonna repairs. If the player is destroyed, exact one-time cost. So would you guys have it to like, if you lose your mech and then you can't afford to repair it, that'd be like game over?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or if you're just like out of, because, okay, are we gonna have just one mech, or are there gonna be multiple?
I think that we have one mech, so that way we could use your like manage inventory.
Okay, actually that makes more sense because, what I was thinking about narratively is is a prototype that was created by a secret operation by the military. So that kind of fits with the lore as well.
You gotta make sure it's war friendly.
One thing I would recommend for figuring out like how the structure of the game works is like building a game loop graph.
We got that on here.
Okay.
Call it Forkit. Okay, so rebuild. I'm probably gonna put this on the doc later.
Good.
Upload the videos. Yeah. Good. Sounds good. Yeah, sorry, I'm just talking to myself. So we got rebuild, and then there's also inventory management, which is like the whole crux of the strategic situation. So I probably should forget that. Inventory management. So what? This is an important question. What would you guys actually want to be manageable? Like, do you want just arms and legs, or like shoulders, head, ankles?
Well, we're only
Arms, legs, and body.
Yeah.
Arms, legs, body.
so torso, which would include the head, and then that seems about right. But since there are, because that whole thing came from Armored Core, and Armored Core actually has multiple mech designs. So I was thinking about like interchangeable limbs. I don't know what you guys are thinking in terms of like managing the different limbs. Are you thinking of like upgrades for each of the limbs, or
Not sure.
I'm thinking like we have a chassis that doesn't change at all, but we have things that are planted on top of it that do change. Like you have your arm, but then like you actually upgrade as a weapon on the arm.
Yes, yeah. So that's very similar to what you do. Even though there are multiple mechs, that's very similar to the system in Mech Warrior. A lot of the time, especially the newer games, if you do Mech Warrior Online with the Omni-Mechs, it's basically Legos with mechs, where you just like put different stuff on like
This
hard points.
weapon system is going to be really hard to make.
I think it's fine. Like,
Well, no, I just mean it's going to be systematically complex.
Yeah.
Like it'll have to be really extensible, or otherwise it's going to take forever.
We gotta knock it down to the core components.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. So basically just call it a hard point system.
Yeah, hard point system.
Hard point system.
There we go.
What does that mean?
So you have different customizable pieces on your mech. Think of like an inventory system in Breath of the Wild. You got your clothes, you got your weapons, shit like that.
Yeah, it's exactly like an inventory.
If Minecraft could do it, something like that. Right, so you got your body, which is your head and your torso. You got your arms, legs. We'll just put these on. Arms is weapon oriented, I would assume. Okay, that does not.
What?
Well, I guess it would be, but I was thinking if we do end up doing like the thruster system, where you have like a jetpack or something, then that would probably be,
I was actually about to say something.
yeah.
Like we kind of work that in, but we have also like an auxiliary, and then you can put in thrusters.
Thrusters in the limbs. In the limbs? Or thrusters in jetpacks?
I'm not thinking that the thrusters should be a core part. Like we can definitely have that, but it's more like bonus. Like
Yeah.
already maneuverable, but then you have an auxiliary system for like extra shielding, weapon overcharge, a jetpack, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would any of the ground missions be invading something in space?
So I would like them to do that.
Are we going to be able to mix and match arms and
What I was saying was,
one left arm, one right arm?
Yeah.
Okay. And like the left and right arm can be different.
Yeah, like you have a primary.
That's the thing that fills up the balloons. Sorry, I just read it.
it's probably a helium canister.
Give it to me.
Either that or it's just air.
That sounds like a very dangerous idea.
Yeah, Romeo, you shouldn't have access to anything that could possibly be dangerous.
It's not dangerous.
Okay, when I'm,
Are we good with the October?
Compressed air is inherently.
I'm good with that. The
1.29
I was just
kilograms per meter
because
cube. Huh?
what I'm pulling reference from is
Not
the game that we were looking at, Salty Vulcan, and they like the one mission is you actually go to a base that's partially built in space, and that's when the thrusters are a little more useful.
What we could do is
Oh,
we could have. I don't think we're gonna put the mech, the 2D platformer one in space at all.
Okay.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
Mm-hmm.
this is a different idea. What we could do is we could have. This is more of a story oriented. We could have the air unit actually kind of like a jetpack for the ground unit. So whenever you go to the mission, the air unit just drops the ground unit, and then whenever they leave the mission, the air unit just picks up the ground unit. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's interesting. Yeah.
And that's not really a gameplay oriented, just a story thing that popped up in the game.
I mean, I don't really care what we end up doing. It's just that that's something that usually pops up with mechs is even in a ground oriented setting, you almost always have like even in BattleTech, a lot of time you have a jump pack which allows you to jump, but it's essentially thrusters.
Okay.
So that was more what I was thinking. It would just be sort of a double jump mechanic that would actually make sense because it's a huge mech. So it's not just going to be able to jump in a really agile fashion. So a way to make it more maneuverable is to add like something like that. I'm not talking about having space missions. I'm talking about the utility in a ground sense.
I don't think mechs have to be like not very maneuverable. Like we could definitely have them be more maneuverable where you can jump a little bit higher. But yeah, I do think that a double jump would be a valuable asset to have for the auxiliary. So we could still use that.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't we could put it if we do have the thrusters as a core part, I don't think it'd be something that we upgrade.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that what I'm saying is, I guess I brought it up at the wrong time because we're talking right now about the hardpoint system and how I don't necessarily want the thrusters to be customizable. I was just talking about more of an aesthetic component where the jumping system is mostly thrusters.
Okay. We're about to talk about the combat game, so
Okay.
we can talk about that. Yeah.
Speaking of the thrusters, there could also be like kind of a Metroidvania component where you could backtrack the level if you missed a object, like a item that you need to like pass like get past an like a
That might be interesting. So actually, in Assault Suit Vulcan, if you look at that game, you can sometimes pick up different ammo options. So like, I think in the second area, it makes it a lot easier on the boss fight if you pick up missiles. Yeah. So you may already have like a specific type of launcher, but you might not have any ammo for that. So then during the level, there might be an area where you can go collect it and then go to the end.
I don't think we're gonna have things like Kyle was describing this sounded kind of like Metroidvanias where you can get a weapon or a tool and it helps you pass through an area.
yeah.
That's designed for larger linear levels. This will not have that because it's more procedurally action based.
What would take the place of that is probably.
I was just under the assumption that all of the levels would be not procedurally generated.
Well, it's not so much procedurally generated as in like Minecraft. It's more like the setting is there, the setting is there, and the enemies up top are procedurally generated. So we can ramp up the difficulty over time without handcrafting 300 levels. And then we have the unique boss battles. Like those are specific one year.
So the stages are all. The stages are the same, but then you would put different enemies in those, or
I wouldn't say the same. It's more like
alternative versions, like alterations to make it distinct, but also.
Are they built for like?
Let's say we design 100 versions, and then we'll take like a mathematical equation. We'll put 5 rooms together, and then we'll put enemies in there. And then like that's a mission. So we take custom designed assets and a custom designed flow, and then we put them together to generate a unique mission.
Okay.
That would be
But,
procedurally
but things would need to be,
So you're doing like Legos.
kind of, yeah.
except the Legos are gonna need to look similar to each other to be properly compatible.
Yeah.
Okay, so, just to comment on what he was saying, my understanding is that the overall resource management aspect, where you research the weapons and then those allow you to progress later on, that sort of takes the place of like getting an item or type of thing. Like usually in the Metroidvania, like you do Metroid, you get an upgrade for like what you get like an upgrade for the blaster, and then you can do something with that.
Yeah.
Those would be things that you gain from the resource management aspect instead of just finding it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Since we're already talking about it, let's just do that next.
Table.
So now here's when you have to start taking into account specific details, like at the start of a 2D mission, you're going to be coming down in space. So there should be like a drop zone. And I'm thinking what we could do is like at the start of the mission, you have an intense like arena kind of area. Like the mech drops down in space, boom, and then there's like aliens everywhere, and you just gotta shoot them, and it's like really fast paced for the first couple seconds. And then, yeah, and then you like start exploring, you start progressing through the level. And like, there might be some platforming obstacles because this is based off Mega Man. And then get to the end.
You know, this game loop kind of reminds me of the No Man's Sky game loop.
I've never played the original No Man's Sky.
Well, I'm talking about like the sort of semi-modern one where it's like you go into a world and there's like 2 stages, like the flying.
You're talking about okay.
Yeah, you
never
like
mind.
fly the plane and
For
then
some reason, my brain heard No Man's Sky and turned it into Risk of Rain. And I don't know why I did that.
Risk of Rain is cool.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, the original Risk of Rain is a 2D game. And I was like, oh, that must be what he's talking about because we're doing a 2D game.
Well, I was just thinking like because
You're talking about the procedural generation.
and then like you collect resources and then you fly a plane to a different place.
There actually isn't even procedural generation. At least originally in No Man's Sky, they screwed up and they lied to everyone who released the game.
Screwed up in the line everyone, basically just their entire marketing strategy.
Well, the game actually became really nice later on, but anyway.
Alright, so we gotta drop down to like intense like arena-based combat. There might be some verticality, but it's mostly just kicking the shit out of things. And then there would be what's called like mid-phase progression. This is whenever like you get killed all the normal like starting guys, and now you're just progressing towards the objective, which is what I thought about those. So what would we want it to look like after we killed everything and we're moving out of the starting area? Because I'm thinking that we should still have enemies so that the pacing doesn't get screwed up, but there might be more verticality in the pipeline.
I'm thinking there will be more platforming once it starts, because then it'll turn into more of like what Mega Man is like.
Yeah.
Isn't Mega Man a Metroidvania game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really.
Well, yeah,
You
there's
don't
not
go
much
backwards.
exploration, yeah.
So there's no.
There's like some standards, I think, that are
You
gonna be
cannot
there.
go backwards in the level.
You can, but you don't have to.
Right. Okay. So there's
Like
no.
going backwards is bad for you.
Yeah.
Going backwards wouldn't do anything.
Yeah. These levels should be very short paced, so you wouldn't really feel the need to go backwards.
Right. So it's not like something like it's not something like Cave Story where you go back to get a save point because you're like, okay, there's a save point back there and I can go get health from that area. So I'll go back. So you wouldn't do that.
I think that typically when it comes to the overall design of mission pacing, you should follow XCOM, which it takes a save in the beginning, and then you either win or you lose.
Good.
That's
Good
right.
idea.
So basically, it's like a small Mario level without checkpoint.
Yeah. It's a small Mario level, probably more verticality than like the first Mario levels.
And then each of these sort of
Like that one Bowser's Castle level in fucking Super Mario Bros. Wii. It's completely vertical.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh right, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. That's in the first world, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one was so fun, except when you fell down. It was really frustrating.
That's creative though. Good level.
That would be a neat. That would be a neat level to have, actually.
That'd be a nice boss.
Like I don't know what that would necessarily be, but what if it's like a dilapidated? This is getting more
Don't
specific.
talk about my
But
mom like
what if
that.
it's like a dilapidated space station, and it's just vertical, but it's taken over by the aliens?
You could do that because it is the 24th century, so there'd be space stations shutting around, right?
Yeah. So the lore that I at least have for the world that I was building for something else, which we might need to change,
Yeah.
is that there are space colonies and space stations around the solar system. Most of them are around Earth and Mars, but there could be other ones.
Okay. That's a good idea. Yeah. Especially because then they've added more locations for transit. Because I was originally thinking it was just around Earth, transit get kind of repetitive. But maybe kind of like you have to go out to Jupiter for something.
See, that's what I was thinking in terms of like we could have things that are sort of in space but not exactly. So for a 2D level, you could have something in a space station, and maybe the gravity is a little not the same as it would be on a planet.
We could definitely affect gravity.
That's the only thing I wasn't thinking of like, oh, we're just floating around in space and there's a mech in space and it's doing something in space. I'm thinking like it's in a location that's in space.
Yeah, we could do that. Anything like a moon or two. Yeah. Alright, so mid phase is platforming emphasis. Yeah. And then, just recap, you drop in, you have an arena combat with really beginning session, and then you kill off most of the enemies, and then you just have platforming, and you're like kind of exploring your level, you're moving towards your objective. And then, oh yeah, we should have a briefing, we'll cover that. There should be a briefing phase before you begin battle.
Yes. Yeah, I actually was mentioning that earlier when we were watching the Assault Suhalkin gameplay. They always have like a small map of the level or the area, and then they have like a description.
Desmond's the UI designer, right?
Yeah.
We should.
I think that we'll probably have two UI designers because there's going to be a lot of UI.
Yeah.
They'll probably be covering the XCOM area and maybe the briefings.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the end phase. Well, if the boss battle is where a boss pick him, so
Yeah.
we'll write that down.
So this encompasses one mission. So one area would be one mission.
What do you mean by
I mean, like if you like one of these cycles is one of these cycles that you're talking about a mission.
Yeah, this is the Wait for Mega Man mission.
Right. So like not one area necessarily, but one
Like level.
level. Yeah.
So the boss missions, this is where the boss battle can be, and then what do we want for non-boss?
What do you mean by phase?
Well, that's kind of I'm just segmenting the phases. It's like, okay, you dropped in, you just started the mission, that's like the beginning phase, and and then you're like walking through the meaty part of the mission. You're fighting some of the enemies that's like the mid phase. And then we're like, this is the climax to the mission. This is what happens right before you leave. So for boss missions, that'd be what the boss battle is, and then non-boss missions are
So like,
closer.
Probably just have a generic like pickup site that you sort of just put in, and they all pretty much look similar, and then is that a bad idea?
No, I just got it. So, has anybody played Warframe?
I played Warframe.
No. So with Warframe, you know, you have your mission, and then you have your objective, and then you complete it, and you got to extract.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's some kind of
That's what you're saying?
extract.
Okay, I thought you were like, hey, you got to the end, good job, pass on 10 of you. I thought that's what you were saying, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I think maybe describe what you're saying. Describe what you were saying.
Let's say you have an objective, each mission has an objective. For an example, you have to destroy a generator. So you go through all the defenses, you destroy the generator, and now there is an extraction. And that could be far away, and then you have to run away from like chasing enemies, or maybe a whole place is gonna explode.
That sounds a lot more interesting. I think that that's definitely better.
Any other ideas for the end phase? That's what we're doing.
I really like that.
I think the player should just have like a 50% chance to die at the end.
No,
We'll put that on this bullshit difficulty, just that won't stop.
the bullshit. Yeah, there we go. We'll have the bullshit difficulty. We have to make an entire other like loop map for just the bullshit difficulty.
We'll have that bullshit difficulty where it opens up Notepad and you have to program it in yourself.
Oh god. You have to even programming it. You have to program it in the worst.
Program it without any
I want you to
syntax.
program it in Notepad using Python. Good fucking luck. Alright, so just to recap, you drop in, you kick ass, and you go through the platform, you kill some enemies, and you either have a boss battle or you finish your objection, and then you have to go extract.
Bowser's Castle. This is what it is. It's everything is Bowser's Castle.
If you finish killing Bowser, okay, Mario gets the extraction. There's a chopper waiting for you.
Bowser's Triangle.
Bowser's Castle's collapsing. You have to get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper.
I think that's actually what happened at the end of like once you kill Mother Brain, the whole place is going down. You got like 60 seconds.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So something like that.
That's what. Yeah. That's exactly what. That's really cool. I like that. It's much more interesting than
That's
just
what
like,
happens
oh, here's
in
the
the
flag
Mario
at the end.
movie.
You jump on the flag.
That's what happens in the Mario movie. Mario kills Bowser, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in and is like, "Get to the chopper."
Spoilers, bro. Alright.
Sorry, I forgot that nobody else would see it.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I just did the Mario movie. Oh, the new Mario one?
Yeah, Jack Black is Bowser.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen
It's
it
not
yet.
out yet.
Oh, it's not even out yet?
I'm just fucking.
Arnold Schwarzenegger actually comes in at the end. Like, that.
Yeah, that definitely happens. I didn't even know what he said, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I just knew
Like
it.
at the
It's
end.
wasted on him.
At the end of the movie.
No, don't worry about it. We're just, let's move on.
No, it's important. He's
We only got 3 hours left, guys.
We need to do this.
It's mostly a joke. So, with the briefing, do you want to do it like Vulcan or just a map and an objective?
That seems fine to me because it gets you straight into the action. I don't think you want anything like stopping you from getting into the action.
It could, but what if like before you select a mission, so to speak, you get like a person that talks to you maybe?
Yeah, that would be something different. That'd be an XCOM mission.
Yeah,
Or
that's
maybe
what
it's the
I'm
beginning of the space one.
Yeah.
Well,
But this one is more like, okay, you're here. This one, guys.
usually the mission briefings in Assault Suit Vulcan, it shows
You can do the
it like
best Animal
the
Crossing
ship captain
character,
will
right?
tell you what you're doing, and then it'll actually have a mission description beforehand on the map, and then there's an animation where there's a little bit of dialogue. The ship captain tells you what you're supposed to do, and then it shows you like basically just are dropped into the level from the ship.
follow that pattern because of the asteroids mission. So we're taking that cutscene and we're making it manual. So it would be harder to do that. But I do think we should have dialogue or some semblance of a one-year story, at least like the boss missions.
Yeah.
And that we would do at the end of the XCOM section.
I do think that we could still follow the pattern. I'm confused as to what, because would the end of the asteroids level, because you'd still need, like the asteroids level in and of itself, from what I understood what it was, is you're taking the ship, and the ship is what you're like moving around. You take the ship, and then it goes to the location.
Yeah.
So then you would need some kind of cutscene where it's like a more zoomed in scale, where the mech is coming out of the ship into or onto like whatever.
We could have a generic, like, launching cutscene where
That's what
it's
I'm
like in the atmosphere, and then we have the ship like
you're going to hyperspace.
Okay.
yeah, like that wouldn't really be story related. It's more just like a transition, kind of like in Warframe whenever you got the ship coming down and Tenno like drops off of it.
Yeah, so I think what we're describing is the same thing, but maybe I didn't describe well enough. I can show you what.
Okay, the way I heard it was like there's a story related cutscene and like some character moment happens and then the mission begins. I don't think we should have like a character moment.
Okay.
I want like a transition cutscene.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
So no dialogue, but we still have the cutscene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Just as like a complete unrelated aside from what you guys are talking about, but the way I'm seeing it is since all the bosses are going to be basically the same, I don't
think that's.
no, what I'm talking about between like playthroughs, I guess.
Okay.
So I don't really understand like really the purpose, so to speak, behind like having randomly generated levels because that's really hard to get right.
That's a good point.
No, it's.
I don't know.
It's. Have you played XCOM Cloud?
No.
Okay. Everybody needs to play XCOM, Jesus. But basically, there's two different types of the missions with bosses on them are like once every 5 other missions, right? It's
Okay, so what I'm saying is that even though it's randomly generated, I think each playthrough is going to be roughly the same. Especially because all the worlds or all the levels are going to be built from like Lego pieces, basically.
It would be roughly the same in terms of the story, it would have roughly the same in terms of gameplay. Because like, let's say you have one playthrough and you want to have like a speed-focused, you want to have speed-focused customization. So you would go to missions that give you more speed-related research. Like, we go to missions that.
Yeah, because I'm just.
It's more so like we're giving the player options. Like the player could go to Mars and there's low gravity and maybe a different type of enemy is prevalent, or they could go to Jupiter and there's like no gravity and there's
I mean, I do like that idea, but
Jupiter would have way more gravity than Mars.
when we originally,
You would literally die from.
yeah, actually,
It's a robot.
the Jupiter is really weird because the actual core of the planet is extremely dense.
Okay, I was thinking more like Jupiter orbit, where it's very low gravity, it's really warm. I wasn't thinking
Right,
like,
yeah, so like around in space kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what I actually imagine, I know what he's talking about, and I don't know. So in StarCraft, there are some story decisions you can make during the campaign where you either accept or decline something, and then you just get different resources from doing that part of the mission, and then you would still go on like sort of a linear track after that, but it would be slightly different than the other linear track you would have gotten with the other choice.
The only thing I'm worried about is like each bit in between the boss fights and whatnot not having much consequence in the overarching game.
So instead of just having it like you have missions you gotta do. We can have it sort of, there's missions and you have a choice between two, and the mission you don't do has a specific effect.
That's what I'm thinking. So like what I'm thinking instead of
Hold on, I got it. Just a second. So, so basically, I had a little ponder, a little thought. How would we feel about character development? Like, I know it's not a character-based story, but like, you want to get some.
Mechs don't have emotions.
Next on the pilots have emotions.
Yeah.
No, they don't. We could just have they're biogenetically engineered to not have emotions.
Jesus.
The mechs aren't like an Evangelion where the mechs are like angels and they're made out of biome. It's just mechanical.
Okay.
Do you know what bioengineered means?
Asking the story.
Yes, I do.
Well, the people are bioengineered. That's what I meant.
Well, the people are
Yeah.
Actually,
I
I
was
had some
gonna
lore on
continue
that.
and elaborate with like there being
Basically,
drop zone, and then maybe near the end of the mission, you can restock to like your points and such, but like have a different scene, like in like an old shop or something where like a taken over alien, a taken over alien mech or something that's been transformed into like something else. That way someone can be inside it and dealing out like your points and stuff. But not directly your points, more so stuff you can buy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think he's trying to like create, an environmental storytelling where you have like people who survive and like modify and it's more like environmental storytelling. I don't think there's really much character in this.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're one guy on a space station with a mech.
Well, I would think that there would be, so like I always imagine, when I imagine this sort of generic setup, I'm imagining that there is a ship, and this is just generally in mech anime. You have a ship, there's like a ship captain and like a couple other characters that are on the ship. And then there's you. Like the main characters, the other crew members you wouldn't like include necessarily, because there might be more crew members, but there might be main characters. I do think though, unfortunately, I've played some stuff, Assault to Vulcan, and most of the dialogue I just skip through because it doesn't match the pacing of the thing. So honestly, I think what would have made that game better is if the dialogue was just completely cut out.
Which is environmental storytelling,
Right.
character storytelling.
Exactly. So like it's more like an implied overall story as opposed to specific character stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that we'll have like basically two different segments of briefing. The first one would be whenever you're leaving the XCOM station area, and then that would be like this space of like what's going on really with the mission. Like, okay, there's this big base on Jupiter, and we need to blow up the generator there. And then it just like that's your stakes, and then you launch. And then once you get there, it's like, okay, this is where the generator is. Go blow this up.
That's literally exactly the first level of Assault to Vulcan. I'm not even kidding. Like I'm not kidding. This is literally here's the space base. Here's the space base that has the generator, and you're supposed to go destroy it before it activates the laser and it can blow up shit or something. I don't know if it's near Jupiter, but I think that game is actually set near Jupiter.
Oh, there you go. Jupiter's just a cool planet, Joe.
It's okay.
So
It had to die.
we get to make one more problem, then I'll put that on the MVP later. I think there's much else to do. There's like features, but we kind of already covered those in other topics.
One thing I would like to think about is like conflicting game, I can't remember the name of it, but like when you killed enemies, they would drop these like power-up gems, but they would only like you'd only be able to collect them if you weren't moving. And if you didn't move, you would die. Obviously.
Well, I'm thinking more like in what decisions or like what missions you choose is where we can have conflicting choices.
Because if you start having, so the overall overarching game element that connects everything together is the XCOM stuff.
Yeah.
So it's, you really need to put the pressure on the player to manage their resources well enough before the mission that during the mission they're not out of resources. So if you have resources in the mission that you're collecting, that conflicts with the overarching XCOM element.
Yeah.
If it makes any sense.
The XCOM element, the action elements are pure action. Because if you start adding in tactical or strategic facets to them, then that'll start interfering with XCOM.
That's what I'm saying. So like if you add in other power-ups and things in the level, it's going to conflict with the overarching XCOM element, and it's not going to be as solid. So I'm thinking don't have the enemies like drop a whole lot of stuff.
Well, that's not exactly what I was just using that as an
I
example.
agree with that as an example, and that's why we're putting it in the XCOM area because it has a higher.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying like in the game the player basically had two like things that they had to do and they had to like decide which one they wanted to do at that time to live the longest.
I feel like I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm still kind of on this like enemy dropping stuff. I think if we have the enemies drop anything, it should be like money or points that then you can use.
I think that later on, have anything you can get from the action areas that could benefit to the XCOM area, it wouldn't be out of the way. Like, if you just get money from killing enemies, then what's the point of getting money at the end of the mission?
Okay, so you just get you're talking about because that was more like if we had it formatted in any way where the enemies would drop stuff, it would probably just be like you don't get money into that level, but you get it from just killing the enemies, which wasn't the original plan, which is fine. But I do get what you're saying. So like, are you talking about like a secret area where you would go in there and then you would get something?
If you're in the asteroid section, you might have like a sonar ping.
No way.
And then if you go to the sonar ping, there might be more enemies, but then there's also like cash, and then you get bonus tons at the end of the mission.
Oh, like that's interesting.
Like a collectible or something. Kind of like an Easter egg.
I think you might need to be a little more
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
So this is for 2D asteroid area. We're going to do some on Newtonian, not the true Newtonian because it's just a lot more computation for really no meaning. So whatever. Objective. That's
The ASMR game. Mariah Carey always be my baby official music video. Watched in full. When you scroll down your search results, it just starts recommending things you already like.
we want space-based bosses. But we could have it where some missions aren't go to this drop zone, they're go kill this entity. It's mostly just would you be fine with using like space-based art assets as well as
We're going to have to.
I know, but like as it stands right now, all you really need is a couple of ships because the asteroid one isn't like as in depth as the combat one on the go.
I mean, I don't really think it's going to be super difficult
Okay.
making the like space bosses as it would be making the land coin-based ones. We could try doing that. I think maybe
I don't know where I got this.
if we need to cut down on, because obviously this is kind of a side project.
Yeah.
So we can minimize the amount of things like that are going on, then
Minimize what?
extra work.
We're discussing having space-based bosses as well
Chicken
as
dinner?
I think that's a really cool
What?
idea.
What's winner
Because
winner?
then you could have like, I think starship-sized monsters.
No, you could have it be like.
So that's totally me and the joke.
Yeah, I was thinking we could have like in like the space part, we could have like an end game sort of boss that you'll face towards the end. That's in the.
That might be interesting.
But that might also prove a pacing problem because if you put most of your bosses in the ground and then the last one's in space, then the player might.
Not the last one necessarily, but like as you're heading towards the last mission, you have to face boss.
Wait, what if there's a mini boss that's guarding the final area?
Yeah.
In space.
Yeah. That sounds
Okay.
good.
That sounds like that sounds good because then we can experiment with that and then also not have as much work because it's just one.
Yeah.
And it also makes it more interesting towards the end.
Okay.
You crashed me into
So that's about as much as we need for you guys.
You're not a very good driver.
I don't have my driving license.
You don't have your Colorado driving license.
What about this?
Are we not doing anything in terms of ship upgrades?
Yes, we are. They're basically modular, the same way as the
Creation
Okay.
of that.
Did we write that down already?
I should probably write it down.
Take me with you. No, come back.
Because I was modular, like, I think I kind of wrote it down, you guys tell me already, but it won't. Because I was like, I was confused about that. Yeah, definitely with it.
Train got disconnected.
We got password, like again,
I'm running into a laptop.
that's one of those details we need to go into.
Why'd you do that? That's fair.
I hope nobody joined the live stream because I've been looking at this.
Stop hitting my child with a laptop.
I'm having a little bit of an ADHD autism.
Features,
I mean, not kidding.
narrative summary. Okay.
I kind of brought you here thinking we would do more talk about the art design document. But
Well, we're about to do narrative,
okay.
so that's kind of it.
I love narrative. I don't think I've played very many games with narrative.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. I really love narrative. That's what I play games for.
I've played most. Yeah, I've played like Minecraft, Terraria,
Narrative is
Project
so
Zomboid.
cool. I love Scorn. Scorn is such a cool game. Yeah. Narratively, it's amazing. It's like all implied narrative in the environment.
I really want to play that game.
1, 2, 3.
What are we? Is this like a sit-up?
4,
You just gotta get the blood flowing, yeah.
5.
We're doing calisthenics now. Okay.
Everybody did a downward facing dog, you got 10 seconds.
Oh, that's yoga.
Is it good, guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway.
I would consider it calisthenics.
That's really hard. That's like a super pull-up where crunch. Whatever.
Yeah. The world building
Downward
is
facing dog.
implied in the environment. Like whatever's going on.
That's upward.
So down. Oh, okay.
So this is kind of like, what's the,
I would think you would have.
what's the setting, what's the purpose, what's going on with that?
Okay, so if we're introducing any dialogue at all, it would probably be at the start, and there would be like an opening cutscene, and then it might explain, sort of like, unless you don't want that.
I'm not thinking cutscenes and dialogue, I'm thinking what is going on. Like in general.
So just an image. So we're just showing an animation of what would react or
like, are we introducing anything? I'll start. Oh, the world. Sorry. So this is world building.
I bet you can't do that.
I don't know like story-based words.
Because narrative to me is like is plot and like because you asked about rising action whenever.
Yeah,
That's
I was
not.
thinking what's the flow of the story, but also like
Let me give you the general idea of the world and what's happening.
yeah.
This is kind of what I. Stop. I gotta look at my. I have a document that has. No, it's not. Stop asking. Everyone's asked if it's a Chromebook. It's not a Chromebook.
I love your Chromebook.
No, it's yeah. This is clearly a vacuum.
What is it?
So I have a document that has the award in it for. I'm not gonna read all of it, but I'm gonna go over it. What are you doing?
I've never seen such a laptop before.
Dude.
Sardines are gross.
No, I'm sorry.
Greasy towels makes you do the same thing.
More draft. More draft.
Can I see that?
No.
Can I see that?
No, you'll break it.
I won't
You'll
break
break
it.
us.
I won't break it.
That's what I thought.
So it's 25th
I know
century.
your weakness.
Humanity is spread through the solar system. Colonized like different locations, stuff like that. No, there's no FTL.
What? Oh.
It's only the main source of technology is nuclear fusion drives. So
Is Earth unified under a single government?
yes, actually,
Communism?
it's not actually
Uh,
unified just on Earth. It's unified
Unified
over the solar system.
under the
Is it a good or a bad government?
It's sort of like the
unified
American
under a
government.
theocracy,
So
actually.
like there's some corruption, but it's like sort of okay. Spicy Federation.
Spicy federal.
It's actually called. I think I had the name. If anyone has a better name, then
Communism.
shout it out.
Communism.
The,
Soviet Union.
That just
The
means
communist
union.
republic of-
That literally just means union.
Yeah.
Walmartopia. That's the name of the company.
It's supposed to be the United Planets.
Elon Musk.
So this is
Elon Musk.
and
Elon Musk.
the main
Elon Musk.
technology,
Where's the bottom?
the fusion drives, it's called a compact cold fusion drive. So CCF drive.
I thought the bottom was further down there again.
This is where it draws air from, though. So, like, it's harder to do it. I put my leg.
So that powers the ships and the mechs. The reason the mechs are able to exist is because of that technology, because mechs take a lot of energy.
I take a lot of energy.
It was a compact cold fusion drive.
It draws
Compact
air, too.
cold fusion drive. Compact. So small, like you can fit it in a mech. It's a small dude. It's not like the size of what fusion drive uses. Fusion plants. So it's like a smaller.
Do not make me regret that decision.
Okay,
What's the other?
Oh my lord! Stop.
I regret my decision.
That's just an air pump. It's not even.
It's not helium, it doesn't kill everyone.
Helium would be good. I was like, is that helium or not? If it was helium, that'd be worse. Okay.
It would be funny, though, because everyone would be like...
Actually, one thing that's interesting. Helium-3
is a
When did we get on to science?
isotope
Deep in HHCs?
fusion drive.
Oh!
Let them figure it out.
Are you talking about deuterium and tritium?
I think so.
Yeah,
Helium-3. Is that deuterium?
That is oxygen with two.
Is it?
No,
Okay, so
it's,
similar. It's similar.
I think it's hydrogen with
So
two.
helium-3 might be a good resource that's not actually on Earth, really. It's a lot of it's on the moon.
Not unless you like
There's enough in the solar system for us to
do nukes.
We'll have those lines in there.
That's what I'm saying. So like there are mines on the moon, and one of the levels could be like
Yeah.
vacated helium-3 mine.
We definitely do something.
And what we had an idea. This was an idea. Romeo, listen to me. You helped me record this. So he has a voice book note that should describe what I was thinking, but I could just describe it if you want me to.
Hello, green tea.
Yes.
Okay, now let's do the aliens.
Okay. Let's do the aliens. I just wanted to
So
mention that I
what
have a
was
specific
the-
mission related to that idea.
As long as we don't forget it, sure.
Yeah,
What
it's
was
already
the thing
recorded.
you
Yep.
were
That's all we need.
Probably.
So what do you want? You want the bio?
The biomechanical. So I can tell you the overall narrative event that introduces aliens. So
What happened to this person?
I don't know
Doesn't
if
look
this is,
good.
I don't know if all these details are going to be necessary for a game, but because this was made for something else. But so the United Planets Coalition sent out a space mission.
The UPC?
Yes, the UPC. There was a space. I get it. Oh my lord.
No, the UPC is a barcode.
I know what it is. I know what it is. We got the barcodes, the barcode dudes, and they sent out a space mission. They didn't come back. What came back instead was a bunch of starships from outside of the solar system.
That would be bad.
Alright.
And
then here. Alien, it was an alien fleet?
yes, I don't know what I want to call aliens yet. We don't have a name for them. I think I just called them the others, but like they're not probably going to have a name because we don't have dialogue.
We don't even have.
Could they be mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
I actually do have a name for
Badger,
You do? or I have a name for the game. Edge of Annihilation. Edge of Annihilation.
Not allowed.
Oh, that works. I like that. Okay. But yeah, so you send out the pro alien fleet. What happened?
Shine credit card. Oh my gosh.
So
Debit card.
these are all subject to change, but this is like just the
This is also.
okay.
Dogs fishing.
The spacecrafts utilize unknown technology to fling meteorites from the asteroid belt at Mars.
Okay.
From a planetary position. All communications from Earth and Mars were lost. So like between those two planets, those are the main planets that have been colonized. Yeah.
Dog.
But that was my overall idea, unless you want to have stuff more back in terms of the solar system. Like when I was up over near Jupiter, then we can do that.
Alright. So this would be considered where the game starts. Where do you want the game to start?
The game's gonna start after this kind of stuff, but it's gonna start. Okay, so this is just.
I need the roughest possible sketch so we have to for our.
This is all just setting up.
We're gonna put Roman in mind. I swear to God.
Why did I blame you? I'm sorry. That was
In the commune, you will be working in the mines.
We're putting the alien fleet lines. It'll be the backdrop.
he usually is very helpful when we're talking about this kind of stuff.
Well, it's not really our base, so you know. It's like,
That's what I'm saying. Like I thought. Okay. So I thought that this
How
would
about
be
we-
more art based.
Yeah.
So then I brought him because I thought we were going to be talking about art.
It's
Um,
more design in general.
no, I know that, but I thought we were eventually going to talk about art. But yes, it's going to be art based. Let's get back to the thing.
I'm just having a big old ADHD.
I am sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Takes your key card.
Refuses to elaborate.
We can talk about this afterwards. Like we could have like a whole like friendship moments. So we don't come to that. Okay. This is all just expositional information for the universe, which is probably too detailed because this game isn't like as directly narrative based. This was made for a tabletop role-playing game, so it's supposed to have. So this is all before the actual game.
Yeah.
You remember that one scene from the movie where it's like an alien that comes out of the guy's
It
chest?
starts in a little bit. Okay, so
I think we've exhausted our mental resources.
okay, do we need a break? Do we need a break? Do we need to take an intermission?
Yay, guys!
How did points?
Alright.
Oh my lord!
I'm freezing.
Here.
I'm trying to be focused. Everyone's just laughing.
I'm trying my best. This is gonna be small point, but I'll work.
I should have just said
Small blanket for small person.
the aliens come. They destroy a bunch of stuff. They destroy the moon. They destroy the moon. Yes, they destroy the moon.
No!
So the moon's gone, except the way that they destroyed it, it got sent towards the Earth, and then it broke into a bunch of pieces, and now Earth has rings. So Earth looks weird now.
Right.
Yes.
Me when the earth has rings? Epic.
So the Earth is like this post-apocalyptic.
The earth is Sonic?
Sonic Earth?
Oh my god, who buried the earth?
Oh my god, there we go.
Why are you looking at me like that?
It's actually not going in. So there's actually a point. This is more scientific, but there's a point at which the moon will start fracturing. It gets too close to the Earth and it can't maintain its form anymore. So then it just splits into a bunch of pieces. But the moon rocks also will start hitting the planet at a certain point. Like some of them will come down.
So they basically booted the moon at us, and then it started cracking over.
It starts raining down. There's like a whole thing where the tides go to shit.
Why did they shoot them?
Eventually, like after the climate disaster, the Earth is just a desert. So they're okay. Let me get to that. So it's sort of like all of the.
Do you have to go home?
Wouldn't the rings make Earth colder?
No, because they reflect a lot of light onto the planet. So it's going to make it really, really hot. Also, this isn't scientific. This is just like pseudo-scientific.
I'm just asking, like, for you to defend your.
We can talk about this afterwards. This doesn't have anything to do with science.
Defend your
Sonic with rings. And let me tell you about the Sonic lore, or Furby lore, or animatronics and their history.
We'll talk about it later.
You had a breaking point. Okay, I don't want to build your smoke truck until we're finished designing.
Want to know something about society?
You say peacock,
Oh.
nobody bats an eye.
Sorry.
But you say poopcock, and the whole world loses their
Want
mind.
to know something about society? It's always gummy bears. Right? Gummy bears. And then the companies are scamming. What do I say? Gummy worms.
Let's talk about aliens, okay? I feel like this is actually safe.
I was born in.
I'm just referencing it right now.
I was born in the gummy bears, molded by it.
Wait, are we still recording?
Yeah. Y'all got caught before kids, sorry.
Okay.
Born in the gummy bear.
So unproductive. Everyone, please let me get across my idea.
Okay.
I've been developing this board. I've been developing this board for like 6 months.
Go on for what's in the left.
Okay.
Gummy bears.
All of humanity that's left has gone into government-sanctioned bunkers, and then after the planet cooled down enough for people to live on the surface again, people kind of start going back up, but then they also build underground.
Oh, that's not what that says.
No.
Give me 10 minutes, please. 10 minutes is all I need. Just 10 minutes of silence.
Quakers meeting. Everybody shut up.
We do not have the talking stick.
Can I have the, that marker is the talking, no.
This is a talking
This is the talking stick. Oh, I have to confiscate it from all these people. Okay. So only I speak. Only I speak when I have the helium 3. I have the helium 3 cask.
No, I just
I'm gonna give us a minute.
yeah. Probably the best.
Can I see the talking stick? Calm down.
No, it's a
Right.
No.
Yeah, it's gonna make him laugh more because it's funny. Yeah, it is for him. It's pretty
The
funny.
trousers funny. Yeah, but the size is funny.
Stop making jokes.
The trousers is funny.
There's too much humor.
Yeah.
Way too funny.
Is the joke too funny?
Yeah, just like let's just stop making the game forever and then just go watch League of Legends. Like this no more. We're disbanding the club.
Yes, they said they would make food.
Okay. I don't think there's any food.
There, Candy.
Okay.
Go get candy. I don't.
It's fast.
No, I just meant for them to go get candy so I can talk to you.
Let's just all go get some candy.
I need a break.
Come on. I have no idea what it's about.
Humanity chills out in bunkers. Do we? I guess that's what it is.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Not really.
Did you do anything?
You guys seriously take one thing wrong. Yeah.
What's the table?
Maybe I already did that.
I've just been working on this the entire time. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Ooh, calculus.
Heck yeah.
Calculus?
Yeah.
Oh.
In 10th grade.
Oh.
Trigonometric integration.
I'm in
Sounds
basic
fun.
algebra and geometry.
Not
You need
really,
to
it
move
doesn't.
your leg.
I'm currently learning geometry proofs since I'm doing this on the side. Hey. Garfield.
Barf. Barf.
Matt. Garfield's long lost cousin Barf.
Mark. Mark.
We have a visitor. Please don't let it be normal. It's normal.
The Garfield show.
Possibly yourself. Stop it.
I'm gonna flip the table.
Do not.
Do not flip the table. I think you're stabilized.
Well, then you might want to sit on the other side of the table.
This is what happens when we bring the artists to the design meeting.
in my freezer, and I will gobble it right back up with my back folds. Wait.
Hey, at least it's not like my brother who's more.
You're like an
You
amoeba. You just eat through your skin.
Yeah.
That's the noise it makes.
Yes. It's like the Little Shop of Horrors.
No,
I love that
it's like the Skype sound.
Okay, but this entire thing has made me think of either Invader Zim or Bioshock.
Yes.
I have not played Bioshock. I know about Invader Zim.
I love Invader Zim. Come on, flip.
The aliens aren't like.
No, I'm sitting here. It will not plant.
Flip.
No.
What the fuck? I was about to ask, did you all recover from your?
No, we did not. We made it worse.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Romeo, get off the table. You're gonna hurt yourself.
No.
Listen, this is what's gonna happen. That table's gonna flip over. You're gonna hit your head right on this one, and we're gonna have to call 911 because you're going to the emergency room. That's fine.
They were just plotting murder. Like, honestly.
That was just attempted murder.
Yeah. Like, I think that's enactable. Like, you can press charges.
Wait, you
I think you
It's
can.
being too loud.
We're just welcome to the watch party.
Are you calling
This
it?
is my monster.
Tyler? You calling it?
I'm calling it.
Good night.
We're gonna finish this up,
I
and then
think
we're gonna figure out the name. Like,
We need to
it'll
get some
take maybe
napkins.
20 minutes at the most.
No,
You think so?
I promise you.
So I'm
Alright.
again my
Yeah.
my idea is Edge of Annihilation or Annihilation's Edge. Those are the two.
Yeah, but, okay, what? Let's try and figure out.
Chill out,
let's
bunkers.
get the game start, so I can see the picture.
What's the thing?
This is only like for aesthetic purposes because Earth is going to be like a weird wasteland and there'll probably be some things on Earth. But it's just so essentially this is where the game starts. Earth is like mostly desert, but also like broken cityscapes because it was already really
You
populated.
need to go on antipsychotic.
Now, where's the rest of
You
humanity?
need more.
The rest of humanity that wasn't in the bunkers
Safely spin around without bumping into anything.
on Earth is dead. But on Mars we don't actually know because the long-term communication kind of stuff was comped out when the apocalypse happened.
That kind of reminds me of that one game where it's like the submarine and a blood sea.
This was meant for, I don't know what that is.
Anyway, like
Oh, I know which one. Iron Lung.
yeah,
Iron Lung, yeah.
like the Earth literally just disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, everything in the world disappeared except for one moon made of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a moon with a sea of blood.
That was a cool game.
That is a cool game.
I never played it, but it sounds cool.
Anyway,
So, I'm thinking with the, what we have this, right? The whole place is fucking bucky right now. And then we get a space station, and that's where the military is, and then they finish designing it. And then they start deploying it on missions, and that's game start. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, like, I guess around the asteroid belt, like, let's say it was in the asteroid belt, so it has radar coverage, that's why the aliens didn't blow it up.
Me when ADHD.
all right, yeah. I mean, see this is totally fine. I think we should probably edit the lore a little bit.
Yeah.
Later on, but like, sure, if you want there to be like a space base, that's fine.
Yeah. I think the space station would be the best because then we have a reason for starting out with the asteroids going to the
No. This makes sense. I was just gonna mention that. Are you guys?
Yeah. Is that really a problem?
No, it's not.
That wasn't disbelief, it was just relief.
I was like,
Sure.
okay,
And they didn't clean up after themselves.
which, oh,
No,
oh.
the piss monster.
What I was gonna say is this whole lore was created so that you would just have like a wasteland on Earth and that's where the players would be, but this isn't for that type of game. We're gonna need to edit it because it's not made for the same type of game. The reason there's so much detail is because it's for role
Okay.
Like, probe goes out, spaceships appear, and then Mars is like, something weird happens to Mars, and then the moon gets kablooey, and the game starts.
Right.
So it's not really. It provides an interesting scenario, and it doesn't need to be covered in detail, which is what we need.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do is because I do actually have this written up less succinctly. But you can. It's kind of like the intro cutscene to. If you look at the intro cutscene for BattleTech, the BattleTech Airbrains Games game, they cover the entirety of like a whole war that lasted a very long time, and then the collapse of a large civilization in the span of like a minute. It was literally no dialogue, just animation.
That's really what we need. Substitution with mech. Path to world.
I think it'd be cool if it was like Doom style music.
I don't know what you mean by Doom style music.
You know what I mean by Doom
You mean
style
like
music.
you mean like metal?
Like rip and tear.
I don't think we want metal for this. I don't think it would fit the mood.
But I like that song.
We'll just steal it.
This isn't like this is Doom has a very specific vibe, and it's not this game. But I do enjoy Doom's music. It's great.
No, no. My roomie has it on Spotify, and we were playing a strategy game yesterday, and it just started playing in the background. I mean, it was on first.
The only thing that hears you is the best one from that
Okay.
game.
Finally, we got through.
Headphone. Huh. I can't hear anything.
Okay.
I heard a beep.
Power on.
So we got what? A Gemini option?
Yeah.
I want to get him at this point too, so we're just gonna speed run.
No
it.
noise.
Oh, do you commute?
And
I think he asked you a question.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's not super relevant.
what was that?
Oh, I was just asking if you commute. Oh, so you live on campus.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So it was Edge of Annihilation or Annihilation's Edge, whichever way you want to spin that. I don't know. Those are the two versions of the name I had for the lore, which was just supposed to be the game. Running.
You guys got anything? Any ideas?
I'm not creative.
I didn't really come with any name ideas, so it might take a while.
That's fine.
Mech Force.
That's so generic.
It's kind of perfect though.
I don't like that.
I think we would need more info on story and detail before, like maybe.
Honestly, I feel like the name of the game is like one of the last things you come up with.
Yeah, it is, but
Yeah.
it's just an idea.
Okay. If we should end up changing the lore a lot, we might need to change its name because the whole feel of the universe for this wasn't supposed to be presented in the same way that it's going to be for this game.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be on Earth. You're supposed to sort of be traversing a really rugged, hostile landscape with only your mech. So it was actually just supposed to be like the players go around with mechs and then maybe like a larger land vehicle or something. But you have to like worry about the different things that are on the planet Earth as opposed to just like stuff that's in space. So it was less like about fast-paced action and things like that because it's like a role-playing game. So it was more about like atmosphere and
What should the mechs be called? Just mechs?
I actually have a name for them. It was variable operated armor. So VOA is the acronym.
Yeah, have them merge together to form like a space park, because then you could like connect with the rest of the suite. Yeah,
Lil
so we don't really have a name, but that's fine. We'll put that on the list of things that we haven't done yet.
It's a very long list. I think the name that you have is fine. I don't like.
What, Mac Gaming?
No.
I was gonna say,
Yeah. I prefer Annihilation's Edge.
Okay, Annihilation's Edge is probably better.
Yeah.
I thought that one sounded a little smoother. I don't know why.
I like it. I think it's serviceable, but I would like something that's related to like maybe the geography. Because like if we have a face in the Kepler belt, then it's like something Kepler, or something that really relates to the game specifically.
I actually had I do like that. I actually had some that were like that originally when I brainstormed for names. I might be able to look at I think doing
Yeah.
coming up with. If you had it in the Kepler belt, you could just call the game Kepler, or you could.
I don't think you could do that.
We could work with like a suffix, so like I don't think it's a suffix, but like a subtitle. So Kepler, and then the detachment number of the actual like military. So it's like Kepler 00B or whatever you want to describe the military.
Yeah. Or we could name it after the.
Coming up with a
Name it after the military project that created the mech, and then created like other aspects of the military that are operating under the secret missions.
I think coming up with the names of the aliens and like the human organizations and stuff like that will
make it easier
to come up with a name.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we know what the target is. Let's move forward.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to have something that specifically describes the game itself either.
Yeah.
Because you really just want something that conveys the overall vibe that you want.
Yeah.
For Horizon Zero Dawn has basically nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and like I don't even know
until like halfway in.
You know what the title Mass Effect is even about?
Yeah.
Does anyone know why it's called Mass Effect?
I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have these successes.
Explain the Mass Effect relay is that you use to go from place to place.
Okay, so it's like a transit system.
Yeah.
Mass relay, speed and time travel devices.
Well, I mean, I think we can tie it back in. Like I just don't need it. We don't need it to be obviously related. I think when you make the name really obvious, then it is sort of boring. Like if I had opened up a pizza shop and I was like, "Oh, it's Jim's Pizza. It's Jim's Pizza, guys. This is what it is."
That's literally how every single pizza shop is named.
It can't be like no. I have a good example.
Domino's
I have a
Pizza.
good no. Stop.
Domino's
Stop this.
Pizza.
So there's a pizza place in Dayton called Old Scratch, and it goes back to the overall feeling that the pizza shop provides, because it looks like a woodblock print, like the logo, and it looks like a fire. So it's supposed to sort of there's sort of a warmth to the restaurant as well. So it is wood. Yes, it is. It's wood. It's like
how's pizza gonna get a job now?
I think it actually is like wood fired pizza. I'm pretty sure it is. That's what that is. So like it sort of goes back to the overall vibe as opposed to something very direct.
Yeah.
And it could be a name that's related to the element, but as long as it relates to the, because the reason why I created the name Edge of Annihilation or Annihilation's Edge is because it's supposed to feel desperate.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
that could be a name of like.
That could be a name of a fantasy game about fucking the high wars in Germany. Like, it's a good name and it evokes the proper feeling, but I feel like it needs to be more specific.
No. I'm not talking about.
Yeah.
Task Force or something like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't even mean like for this game, because the reason I came up with it was for.
Yeah, we know. I know that. Like, it's not designed for the name, so no shit, it doesn't fit. It's not designed for the game, so no shit doesn't fit the game. But I think that whenever we are designing it, like the actual name, it should be highly relatable to the game.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think so as well, but I don't think that it should be such a direct connection like if you say Mech Force or whatever, what was your idea? Mech Force? Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm saying. Like it can't just be oh guys, it's mechs, dude. Whoa! Like it can't be like that. You see what I'm saying?
That's basically what
But it has to be something like Mass Effect, where it's like complicatedly related to the lore, where it's like okay, mass relay, and then that does something in the game.
Yeah.
Where it's not like obvious. Like I can't
Yeah.
just be calling out. It's like, dude, let's call it mechs versus aliens, bro.
Mechs versus Aliens, a hit 2008 summer blockbuster.
Bro, look, it's robots versus aliens.
Oh shit!
It's bro,
Okay.
look, it's a xenomorph fighting the fucking
Your dad.
fighting your dad. Dad versus alien.
Fuck. I'd watch that in a heartbeat. That sounds like a Hootie Pop spinoff.
That kind of does actually. It's just with aliens. It's alien girls.
No.
that one game where you're a dad
Octodad?
Yeah. See, that's actually funny. When you have those titles where it's just a direct correlation, then you can do a funny game. So you're like, okay, pizza simulator, and then it's just a pizza. It's just a stupid pizza restaurant, and the controls are shitty, and you can't get anything done. So you're just like throwing pizza toppings everywhere. Like it's like
Yeah.
I Am Bread.
Oh god, that
You
game.
see what I'm saying? Like
I'm
it's
gonna let
so-
the recording go though. Y'all have a nice day. Don't die.